We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Oh, so God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey, everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew. Charmed, I'm sure.
Welcome to episode number 24
Gotcha.
of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, also known as the Black Panther episode of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. Yes, you heard me right. We are doing a Black Panther episode.
Featuring Elton John.
Featuring Elton John, and apparently Gil Faizon, which
hello.
I wasn't where he was coming by today. But hey, what do you want? So we're going to talk about Black Panther. It's been a while, but we're going to try to do it anyway. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now, and if you haven't, you've at least read something about it.
And if you haven't, what rock are you living under? Like, come on,
seriously, it's he's made $1 billion already. How have you not
without your money?
It?
What?
Yeah,
why
it makes no sense.
Why are you even listening to us?
Yeah, we put Black Panther in the title. Why you watch it? Or don't.
Come on, Playboy.
Yeah. Exactly. Then we'll end it off like we do every other week with everybody's favorite segment, which I've renamed this week. What we forgot to grow up watch this week, or WWFTGUWTW, and we'll see how long that really long and super useful.
I think that's the end of it right now.
I don't think even Big Mouth could fit that into their mouth. Like, that's a mouthful.
It is quite the mouthful. All right.
Black Panther.
Yeah, how are we gonna start talking about Black Panther?
Well,
it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's made a lot of money. We should we could start by saying how this movie is gonna help me win our fantasy draft, because this is one of my picks.
I think you've already won. I think you've already won one movie.
You brought that up, Scott, because I was gonna start to add all of that together before we started to do the podcast. But
we're starting to get some of the movies coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got 2 out, and Andrew's got 1, I think, or I've got 1.
Who do I?
What's my second one out? Oh, did Ready Player One come out? Is that my other one?
No, it's you have A Wrinkle in Time, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then you've already broken the fucking pre-sale records, for Black Panther and for Infinity War. So
yeah, and Infinity War just did it in 6 hours yesterday.
That's because
Friday.
I will continue to maintain that we messed it up when we did the draft, and the draft unfairly had an unfair advantage to the first person who picked.
Yep.
But I say you guys just didn't pick well enough.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, my question is, how did I get Black Panther and Avengers?
Well,
if I only had one first pick.
Well, so since we're doing this,
yeah, I'm pulling the list up right now.
Okay, we're taking a little sidetrack from Black Panther to talk about the fantasy draft first.
It's because I took Solo because it has Star Wars attached to it. I don't care what either of you guys say. It made sense.
Yeah, no,
so
it doesn't. But okay.
You got your first, yeah.
Well, I took Ready Player One because I thought that one was going to get hyped up a lot more than it did.
Yeah, you should have taken Avengers.
I 100%. Yeah, because you took Avengers first.
Yeah, you should have taken Black Panther then.
Either one of us should have taken Black Panther.
Yes. I think you both underestimated Black Panther a lot. You both missed out on it in the first round.
The only thing I can hope for in my list is that, like I think we've said before, that I get a lot of geeks into Harry Potter, like myself, who dive hard on Fantastic Beasts, which is starting to get its heated up moments already, and people just riding that high from Infinity War and everyone going to see Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 or 4 times. That is the only way I'm going to pull into second place in this.
So I was going to do the draft update this episode because we were doing the Black Panther, but because of the way that we're scheduling this around the Easter break, I didn't want to skew our data, so we'll just wait until after Easter.
That's probably a better idea.
Update.
Yeah,
because otherwise full disclosure, we're doing this at a completely different time.
We're recording random day.
Yeah, exactly. For those who are actually paying attention, they'll notice that it's daylight.
If you're watching on YouTube.
And for those of you who are not paying attention, it's daylight.
It is daylight.
Now
Look
you know.
outside. Look outside. It's
back
daylight
on track
outside.
with Black Panther, though. Guys, I got a question for you. Maybe you can answer it for me. How in the unholy hell did they first figure out how to mine and how to break up vibranium if all it does is accept the kinetic energy from something else into it?
That's
Don't
one
ask
thing
questions.
that's one of those things.
That's my big thing. Like they had to
They
create.
became technology advanced because they had a rock. Like,
That's
wait,
what I don't understand. Like, did the rock mutate their brains? I know it mutated the plant life, but
Yeah,
I don't I never understood any of that. And full disclosure, I was never huge into Marvel comics compared to DC. So maybe there's a whole issue dedicated to that, but I've never been able to wrap my
backstory.
But I didn't understand how somehow the rock made them more technologically advanced, and how in the first place they figured out how to mine something that absorbs the kinetic energy.
That's one thing. It's like when you hit it, it just absorbs all the It's
and
Captain
then
America's shield in its natural form. Maybe it needs to be refined before it has that property. Maybe
I don't know.
Make sense?
But
because I don't know how mining works.
Well,
or how normal rocks are ored or whatever. But I assume that it's not just like iron bricks in the. Yeah, but I assume it's just not an iron brick hiding out in the ground. You know what I mean? Like I assume it's mixed in with other stuff, and then they
right in the movie when they have the little train track go by with all the the stuff, they had to create the sound things to dampen it, the dampeners to kill the effects of the vibranium in its rawest natural form.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that they had to create that to move those that fast, clearly something hitting it when it's raw is going to create destructive properties.
Yeah, it might just blow up.
That's a major loophole.
It is a very It's
so
kind
do
of
we want to just forget talking about Black Panther and spend an entire episode on vibranium? Because
well, in our defense, vibranium is a very central part of Black Panther and the Black Panther story, and Wakanda especially. Like, what makes Wakanda extra special is that they have this rare material that helps improve all their technology. And Andrew's just curious,
I don't understand how it works. I told you before, I had a whole rant a couple episodes ago about how I can't figure out how the fuck people figured out how to mine metal and melt it down. Vibranium takes that to a whole nother level.
Yeah. It's not even a real material.
My brain went from walnut size to cashew size. How? How is it happening? I don't know.
I always put it off to
movie magic. Movie magic.
Yeah, I was about to say that movie magic. It's not that and what's that expression where magic is just science that you just don't understand yet, right? So it's that's the way I kind of thought of it. I'm like, well, they're just so much more advanced than us because I don't know how to make an invisible plane or all the different things they have. Energy shields baffle my mind.
How if you hold up your cloak like this, it turns into a big force field that's 4 times as big as your cloak. Magic.
Yeah, I like that though. I really enjoyed that part of the movie. Their technology, despite being confusing, was really cool though. It did a lot of really cool things. We're just kind of curious how it did that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're really getting at is because I'm just they did do a little explaining at the beginning of the movie. There was that little I really enjoyed that little the first
the children's story where he explains where it came from.
Yeah. Exactly. I really enjoyed that, but I feel like they could have added into that just a little more, being oh, well, I guess that would be a little bit boring.
That's another thing for me.
Details of this is how they turned vibranium into all the technology. You know what I mean?
That's another thing for me because they say it's this monster meteor. I feel like at the very least they should have said it came millions of years before and killed the dinosaurs. And then they happen to be the people who settled on it, somehow tie it in with real history.
I'm hoping they maybe explain a little bit more about it in some
hopefully, even if they had just a small little comic strip associated with the movie that comes out with the Blu-ray.
Well, I don't know if you know, they usually have a prelude comic or prelude comic to each of these movies. So I'm assuming Black Panther has one because I currently am reading the Civil War one, just
Okay.
as part of my countdown, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's in there somewhere. But I agree. Maybe during the in the Blu-ray special features, they'll have like a the
Hopefully.
science of Wakanda
Yeah.
and maybe a little more backstory on
Because
it. Maybe we just need to do some research. On
Well,
it.
they even say in that story that Wakanda watched the rest of the world as they put themselves further into darkness, and they show they show pirates, they show all sorts of stuff happening throughout the world that like they must have had the magic flying plane at that point already in history to be able to know what's going on everywhere in the world. So like there's a few plot holes that for me, like you guys know, I get taken away by plot holes. Like things like that take me totally out of the movie.
I know.
So like stuff like that, like, and at this point we're only like 2 minutes into the movie and I'm already just confused as shit. But that being said, I love it. I've seen it twice. I will see it tomorrow again for a third time. It is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yes.
I'm not knocking it for that. It is a great overall film.
No, I wouldn't even take that as a knock against it as much as saying like we're just curious. We have just more answers about it because it was such a good film. They focus on
they dance around
and,
a few things.
Yeah,
For instance,
exactly.
this leading into another thing I realized the other day that for maybe there is some hidden explanation there, but for me I couldn't figure it out. That like T'Chaka and T'Challa, the two subsequent Black Panthers and Kings of Wakanda, they were so pro the Sokovia Accords. You guys got to sign these or else, and if you don't sign it, then you're a wanted criminal type thing, or you're not allowed to use your powers or stuff like that. And it says right in the Accords that in order, what was it? Any enhanced individuals who do not sign will not be allowed to participate in any national or international conflict, nor may participate in missions undertaken by the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D., or any other intelligence organization. So the fact that Black Panther teamed up, with Team Iron Man, he signed the Accords, right? Or at least
I assume so.
Or he's acknowledged that they exist, plus the fact that he pushed for them. And then the fact that in Black Panther, he leaves Wakanda, on his own accord to go to Korea and fuck shit up. Like they caused quite a bit of property damage.
Yeah. And they don't even try to like be subtle about that whole scene at all. That was one of my things. I'm just like, that was a great like action scene, but in the context of like it in the world of the MCU, it's like, yo, you guys just went and fucked up a random random city in a country,
and they're so like they knew about
you're the king.
Yeah,
you're the king of a country. You can't just go to other countries and just start messing stuff up.
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
That's that a declaration of war.
Yeah,
yes,
like for starters, like they make the big deal about when Killmonger and Claw go and steal the vibranium like tool out of the British Museum.
Museum.
Yeah, when they steal that, because apparently they keep tabs on all of their vibranium that they leave places.
Yeah.
There's the chase scene in Korea where what's her name? Okoye, I believe, the general. Mm-hmm. Where she she's sitting on top of the friggin' roof of their car racing, and then she sees Claw shoots it, and she jumps up and like uses her vibranium to like save it, and there had to have been vibranium somewhere throughout there. That they blew up. And then the fact that she like hangs out the window, climbs up, and throws she throws her staff through the ground, and the car like hits it and like just gets wrecked, and they just leave it there. Now there's vibranium there. Like these aren't plot holes that affect the story, the continuity of everything. It doesn't affect the beauty and the masterpiece that it is. It's just little things that I'm like, no.
That's an easy fix too. It's like you just had to pick up your spear.
Walk by and pick it up. Show me you picking it up. Now someone's got that in a lab somewhere.
They did that in Age of Ultron, where like Captain America loses his shield, and then like a few seconds later, you see Black Widow going by on her bike, picking it up, being like, "Oh, we're cleaning up after you, boys." And it's like that's all you need.
Well, even in Age of Ultron, there's the one where Cap like hits him with the shield and like kicks him off of flying Sokovia, and Ultron's not even dead yet. He's still alive at that point. So for all we know, there's an Ultron somewhere still in the MCU. I mean, chances are he died on impact, but you didn't actually see him die. So like these cool scenes, there are some major flaws with them that people I just don't
nothing
think
could be perfect. Yeah.
But
We were
like,
just nitpicking, I think, too, on some of these
like-
things too.
like my big thing was, like I said, the Sokovia Accords. Like, does he hold
Yeah.
himself above them, or does he just break them?
Disregard it.
Or
I feel
yeah,
like when this movie was getting written, potentially they maybe weren't considering it.
I feel like that's one of those things they're
Accords.
kind of hoping that Andrew at Forgot to Grow Up wasn't gonna notice this shit and then
Yeah.
say it so other people now know about it. I think it was something they were hoping was just gonna go over everyone's heads.
Yeah, potentially. Or they just they just were more focused on other aspects of the story, and they're just like, oh yeah. And as weird as it sounds, it's been like 3 movies since Civil War, so it's like I
Yeah.
can kind of see where you lose the like details of the Sokovia Accords in the mix of those other movies that have come out since Civil War. I think it's 3.
Well, if they
Come out since Civil War.
well, right there again in the Sokovia Accords, it says like if you do act without like the approval of the country or the United Nations like subcommittee, saying that you as an enhanced person or someone who's affiliated with the Accords does something without permission, you're to be arrested. Then you end up like Clint Barton and them.
Maybe we're just missing. Maybe they just didn't show the scenes where they've got the diplomat, like their secretaries,
Yeah.
like the ones who are just dressed in like normal like suits and stuff,
Yeah.
and who are like calling each other, being like, "Oh yeah, we King T'Challa's coming to." It was South Korea, right?
Yeah.
North, South, yeah. So South Korea. He's just coming for a night. He's going to a casino or something. Okay, thanks.
Show me that because
And I know you want to see that.
But he by saying he's going to a casino doesn't imply, oh, by the way, he's enhanced
May or may
and
not,
he's gonna go fucking leave vibranium in your road, break a bunch of your vehicles, steal someone's car. That's theft. That's not even take out the fact that he caused property damage to other things and that he's doing this, breaking the Sokovia Accords. He stole a car. He's a criminal. He's a common criminal at that point.
Maybe it was a rental.
Okay,
Maybe it was a
but
rental.
flip it on its head, okay, and ignore the fact that he's the king of the country, and you've just described pretty much every James Bond movie ever.
Yeah, but James Bond.
We're not talking James Bond this week, man.
Exactly.
James
We
Bond
talked
was
about that
last
last
week. You should have brought that up then, Craig.
Well, it didn't come up in my head then.
But there was no
really, they're
Sokovia
just-
Accords in James Bond.
No, but they're just acting in.
It's just diplomatic rules.
You can't use diplomatic immunity when you're stealing cars and destroying property. That's not how it works.
Maybe you can.
It-
I've
it-
seen
that-
Weapon 4.
That's
I know
not
how it
that's
works.
not
Or
how
this
it
one's,
works.
Which lethal weapon was it with the diplomatic? No, it was 2. Lethal Weapon
Yeah.
2 was diplomatic immunity, right?
Yeah. Just think of the Family Guy song.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'll think of
Can't touch me. Anyways, none of this has anything to do with how great the movie is. It's just
Yes.
it's just little flaws that there's no explanation to that's been given to me anyways.
Yeah, we needed something to record about this other than saying it was good. We really enjoyed it.
Go see it. Go spend money. Okay.
Well, everyone already clearly has. It's
Yeah.
made so much money, and for good reason. It is a good movie. It's really enjoyable. I understand why it's such a significant movie.
Yeah.
It's out of the 18 now it's the 18th in the Marvel the MCU, and it's the first one that had an African American lead. So I get why that's so significant for everybody.
Chadwick Boseman
but
is one badass middle-aged guy.
He is charming too. Is he middle aged?
He's 41, man.
What?
Yeah, he was born in 77.
I swear I thought he was like a year older than
No,
me.
man, he's 41. He's playing like a
He's
25-year-old, but he's
Yeah.
but he's 41, yeah.
It's because he looks like he's like 25.
Yeah, he
I
looks-
swear. I'd be like, oh, you're still
yeah.
in college? Like you and Peter Parker hanging out on the weekends?
Yeah.
Like, no, this man's grown ass man. Damn.
Yeah, he's 41,
Well,
man.
good for him. He keeps
That's that's another thing. Like, how old is he supposed to be? They haven't given me a birthday in the MCU.
That's true. That's
Like,
a little
I
vague.
feel like he's within 10 years of Shuri, but I'm not 100% sure. Just because he's
That's hard to say,
41
yeah.
in real life.
That's I'm not sure. It's hard to say. The MCU doesn't always focus. Too
Well,
much on
even
timelines and
in
dates.
like I've talked about before, Draft Day, one of my favorite movies, Kevin Costner. Draft Day, he plays a college graduate who's going from playing college ball up to the NFL. So he's playing like a 21-year-old, and at that point he would have been like 37. So Dude's just got it going on.
Yeah, he's just, he's a young-looking man, but I found him very charming, and I really enjoyed his way he did the role. I liked his kind of like, I like how he like showed like he was an inexperienced kind of king, right? Because like you don't just like take on the role of king of a country and just know how to do it. I hate when that happens. So like I like
absolutely.
that he was kind of like struggling, trying to learn how to like what decisions he needs to make. I like that he leaned on his like his friends and family to like get more advice, being like, should I take this technology out to the world? Should we just stay in Wakanda and stay hidden and whatnot?
Well, I like that it started off, he was trying to carry on his father's legacy. He was trying to continue everything his father did. And then spoilers, once you find out all the shit that, his dad did and realize that his dad wasn't a perfect man, then he's got to be like, well, fuck, what is the right thing to do?
Yeah, and he has to learn to be his own man, and I really enjoyed that part of it. His arc, I think, is pretty good.
That nut up or shut up life.
Yeah, one thing I saw that was kind of funny, pointed out on the internet, is that it's interesting that they can determine who their king is based off of a fight. Like they still do that. It's like, we're still gonna decide it over a fight, but that's. Yeah, I also like that. They're really enjoyable. There was a really beautiful scene.
Well, even when he's fighting the was it M'Baku, the leader from
M'Baku,
yeah. When he's fighting, is it Zumbaku? I thought it was M'Baku.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, the guy from the ape tribe.
I'm gonna mispronounce every name in this movie.
But him, the guy with the ape from with the badass fucking ape the castle thing where they've got the ape carved into the mountain. That was fucking sweet.
Or gorilla. I think it's the gorilla.
The white ape or whatever.
The white gorilla.
Yeah. No, ape, because his comic book character is man ape, but you can't say that shit nowadays. It was man ape is his character. His
comic book character. Yeah, no, I know, but they kind of refashioned it in the MCU.
Whichever it is, the big hairy gorilla ape monkey beast. Their tribal character. He's badass, but I like that when he goes in for the fight, like he challenges him because he's just a kid. But then the compassion that T'Challa shows, where he's like, listen, man, I don't want to kill you. I will. Like I'm king, so I'll kill you. I kind of have to if you don't tap the fuck out. But
yeah, exactly. I like that he also that guy put up a good fight against. I like that.
He gets stabbed, like straight up stabbed in the shoulder.
Yeah, Black Panther takes a lot of beating, and it
kind of does show that he's
beat. Down a lot. Like he doesn't win any of his fights just easy. He has to work for every one of them. And, which was enjoyable. I thought it was it made it a little more realistic to me because I'm like, we've seen this guy fight once before. So coming into this movie right away and seeing now he's king and he's if he had just wiped the floor with that the challenger guy, I would have just been a lot less. I would have been less impressed with him. But the fact that he had to struggle, I guess he got stabbed. I can't remember. It's been a month since.
Well, he won 2 out of 3 fights, and one of them he didn't even win. Realistically, he had to use outside factors to win it. So he really only won
the last fight.
Yeah, he really only won 1.5 of the fight. So I like that
it. Say that, but that's
he had to use his brain more than he had to actually rely on skill set and superpowers in the suit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And even that kill shot right at the end, I think a lot of it was just luck. It just happened to go through him before the stabilizers came through and fully.
Well, see, you say luck, I say luck is, was it opportunity meets skill or skill meets opportunity?
Well, that's what he is. There's no way he was going to know for sure that fucking sword was going to go up and come right in at that point and flip the right way at the right time.
You can time that kind of thing. You can
not in a split second. Come on, son.
You don't know how fast his brain works with that Black
Panther. I know that the world doesn't work that way.
Serum. What was it? Was it a mushroom?
It's a flower.
Yeah, it was the heart-shaped herb.
That was it. Herb, yes, heart-shaped herb. Which I was confused by the fact that Killmonger burned that all. Like I
'Cause
got
you
it.
didn't want anybody else
Well,
to ever be Black
I got that
Panther.
part, but at the same time, I'm just like, shouldn't you keep like a little for yourself? Like I didn't get why like
Can
you
you
had to get
can
rid
you
of it
take
all.
can you
Like,
take it twice? Like, can you take it once
what
and
would
then
happen
get
if you
like
took it a second
super?
time?
Yeah. And how did they figure out how to take it away? Like, how did they figure that
part
shit
I was
out?
always- I found that really interesting that they could have it taken away.
Maybe if
I
you
did
take
find
it
a little
twice,
less-
it takes it away.
Yeah, I
They
did
don't
like
explain
that
it.
I don't like the one thing I found a little less impressive is that it is just an herb that pretty much anybody can take.
Yeah.
It's like
That
steroids.
part-
Yeah, basically, that's what it is.
Because like the difference with like the super serum with Captain America, right, is that it kind of only ended up working for him. Every time after that it was tried, it kind of went a little
Yeah.
haywire.
That's
right?
how you end
And
up
that's
with
the
the
thing I
Hulk.
liked about it. But so like I would have liked if it was like if maybe Killmonger had some kind of like side effect, or if we'd seen somebody else try to take it, like Killmonger maybe try to give it.
Yeah,
to
like-
somebody,
like if you're
and then
not
something
worthy.
bad happened
Yeah.
to them. Yeah, exactly. Like if you had to be like the bloodline, like that would
Yeah.
make sense. Like you had to be the Black Panther bloodline, or you had to be approved by the gods before taking it. I
Yeah.
can't remember if that was the order they do it in. Right, I can't remember that now.
Well, I
Do they
think
take the herb and then they get buried? Was that how it went?
yeah. They pour it
Yeah.
in your mouth and then they bury you in the red
Sand, so you can go to the
sand thing.
astral
Yeah.
plane, which I thought was really cool. I really thought that was.
I
interesting.
like that Killmonger's astral plane was like his apartment as a kid.
That was- I really enjoyed that too.
That was in the astral plane because you could see everything
Yeah.
else in the background.
Exactly, which I thought I agree. That was really interesting and just such a like thing that I like. I think it's just like a little detail that is just like maybe not everyone would have thought, not every storyteller would have thought of, but like having that like specific detail like fashion to him made it
Yeah.
a little bit more interesting in that, and the fact that like Black Panther or T'Challa's character, he saw the like he just saw like the African plain with the tree. With the Black Panthers, and that's just because that's what he grew up imagining
Yeah.
what that would be, right? Whereas Killmonger's character grew up
Not
in
really knowing. Like,
apartment in- was it
everything he knew.
Oakville?
Oakland.
I know Oakville. Not in
Oakland, yeah.
Ontario. Damn.
Oakville is a
Yeah,
very
like, all he knew
demographically
about
different place. Yeah.
What were you saying, Craig?
I said Oakville is a very demographically different
Yeah.
place.
No, I feel like everything that he knew about Wakanda was just based off of what his dad told him or what he read in that book in the apartment. So he really had nothing to experience outside of that.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Do you guys think that the spirit realm is related at all to the soul gem? Because that's one theory I've seen is that the soul gem is inside the meteor of vibranium, and that's like kind of why they can go to the spirit realm.
That's possible. See, I don't know. Like, part of me feels like maybe they're gonna hide the soul gem, like in the X-Men movies or like in Deadpool or something, because
They
there's
can't do that yet.
not
can't do
yet,
that yet.
not yet, but they haven't referenced it yet. They got time.
What are you talking about? They have time.
They got
what
time.
Do you mean? What do you,
Like, they
what are
you don't
talking
even
about?
know. You don't even know if we're actually gonna see the soul gem, man. Like, for all we know, it's hidden
yeah,
somewhere.
I'll agree with that, but
So,
I
like,
disagree
for
with
that-
that
for them to
it's
say
hidden
it's
in
hidden-
X-Men.
For them to say it's just hidden in a metal somewhere, and like I want to see it. Like, I want to see it before.
Well, no, not hidden, but it's in like so. It was what like the vibranium all gathered around. It was in the middle of that meteor.
What would the
and
connection
so Thanos
be?
is gonna have to go blow it up. What do you mean?
Like, what would, like, between the vibranium and the soul gem, what would it be connected to? Like the Eye of Agamotto, they dedicate that to being time. It's associated with that.
What would the soul gem be associated with?
Like
Souls.
well, no, but why is that attached to the metal? Like what? Like
Oh, no, the
what
metal's just, like-
correlation would be there?
Well, no, so, like,
because
it's
I've read a lot
so-
that says that Tony Stark created the soul gem with his
That's just
fucking
a
heart
random
thing, which is
theory.
total bullshit. There's no
That
way
makes no
that's
sense,
yeah.
because this okay, so all the Infinity Gems were created at the beginning
Yeah.
of the universe, so it's possible that like we don't know what happened to them right after that, so it's possible that the Soul Gem, after coming into existence into the universe, it just picked up some rocks as it was traveling through the universe,
That's
like
fair, I guess.
meteorites and lots of things tend to do in space.
I don't know. I
It's
want
also
I want some.
comic books. You're thinking too much about these things.
I want it to be something
Why can't
way
there be
more.
a rock in the middle of a bigger rock? Like
I just want it to be way more fun. Like I don't want it to be like
Why
a
isn't
like a
that
cop.
fun?
I don't know. It doesn't seem fun to me. It just doesn't seem that fun to me. Like I want like a
It just
crazy
being-
like being the last one that we need to know
Well,
about.
I've heard rumors that they're potentially making another stone for the MCU, or that there's
Like
a second gauntlet or something. There's some weird. I heard some weird theory like that.
Like I'd like to
something.
find out like the fucking soul gem is Odin's eye, or, like underneath his fucking eye patch. Something stupid like some.
Spoiler for
but he's
Ragnarok. Odin's
dead.
dead. Though.
Well, yeah, but then he's got to travel out to the constellation and find him. Like I want it to be something fun and crazy and far out, being the last one that exists.
So it being in the center of Wakanda, is it?
That's not far out there enough for me.
How is that
Like,
not out there?
what's he gonna do to get there? He's gonna come fucking crashing down like Hulk style. He's gonna fucking break apart a bunch of vibranium and pull it out. That doesn't seem that fun to me,
We started.
Well, no,
our
he has to
discussion
first
with
get
you
his
can't
way
just
through
break
all
apart
of
the
Wakanda.
vibranium.
dude.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like he has
I
to
don't know,
fight
man.
through all of Wakanda army, which is what we're seeing in the trailers for
But
Avengers.
I don't
Infinity
know.
War
It
already as
just
part of
it just doesn't seem fun to me. I want something a little more exciting. That doesn't it doesn't tick.
I can kind of get what you mean. Like
It
it's kinda
doesn't
just
tickle
like,
my
it's
gooch.
a little
Like I want
too-
something like fucking
it's a little
far
too
out.
convenient, I
Yeah.
guess, but it's also just like, well,
Like even if they turn
it's
around
not,
and
it's not gonna be
say
in the X-Men. That's all I'm saying. There's
no,
X-Men have
but
nothing to do with.
I
the
don't want it
Infinity War.
exactly to be there. I just want
And
something fun and far out and,
I
and
also think it's
magical.
going to pop up in this next movie because either the next movie or the one after that, the Untitled Avengers Infinity, or the Untitled Avengers movie that comes out next year after Infinity War. Maybe that's when we get it, but I do think we're getting it in the next, either if not this movie, then the next movie, because Kevin Feige planned out this
Fucking
first,
make
20
the soul
movies.
gem the fucking Pym particle. Get. I just want something crazy. I don't want it to be like fucking easy,
See,
straightforward.
I kinda
Like, I
kinda
don't want it to be
that.
something
I just
straightforward.
don't see how
like-
you say that it being in the middle of Wakanda is so straightforward. That's the
I think
part I'm just like,
it's not
that
exciting.
straightforward.
It's not exciting to me. I mean, maybe it's because Black Panther just came out last month, and then we're gonna see Infinity War, next month. They're so close together. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't give it enough time to stew. Like, Wakanda's still fresh in your brain. I
agree.
I want
would've
some.
liked
I want
for
some
them to
like.
pop the Soul Stone up earlier.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Like-
just being like, okay, where is it? Like, especially
Or-
since it's the only one we don't know where it is.
Or
right?
if they
It's like,
fucking show us something and like let's say Iron Man 3, you see like an artifact or something and they don't really dwell on it, and then they bring it up in fucking Infinity War and you're like, oh shit, I should have been able to put 2 and 2 together.
yeah, I missed
Like
that.
something fun,
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and so it being in Wakanda isn't fun in your opinion.
No. Boring ass. Make Groot the fucking Soul Stone. Like, you gotta crack him in half, plant him again, and then here's the Soul Stone. Boom. Like, make it interesting,
No,
exciting.
That's not interesting.
That's murder.
That's lame. Because, well, see, the ones you're pitching are just ones that they have to like retcon way too much stuff. Because then they're like, oh well.
I just think breaking apart a mountain, like, as cool as it would be to see in real life, like, it just doesn't seem like
Maybe the only Infinity Gem hidden in a mountain. That's
like it's I don't know. It's just not super, and I don't see an association between like the soul gem and a mountain. Like, I want it to be like somehow connected to like people's souls or some shit. Like, it's gotta be.
Well, that's why I was saying the connection to that's how they get to the spirit realm is because the Soul Stone's there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. It's.
Do you like the Heimdall theory that it's in Heimdall or something?
I don't know. Like, at this point, like,
he's got orange eyes. I think that was the theory. Is
I don't know,
why
like-
he had it.
like for me, like anything now that isn't just totally crazy. Now that I've pitched a bunch of total fucking fantasy bullshit things, like nothing's going to excite me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Whatever. I've already gotten 5 stones. I don't care about this 6th one. Just punch somebody, Thanos.
Make it Aunt May, okay? You hear me, Marvel? Make Aunt May the Soul Stone, and then that's it. No questions asked. Problem solved.
Yeah, that does solve every problem. This Melissa
To May.
Is it Melissa Tomei or Marissa?
Marissa
I forget how
Tomei.
to
Yeah,
say
I think
it.
it's Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, I said Melissa at first. My bad. Anyways, back onto Black Panther since we kind of got
Yeah.
vaguely sidetracked there.
Way over
see
to
that right
Infinity
down.
War.
I'm trying to look at my notes. What'd you guys think of Killmonger as the villain?
I thought it was good. Like, it was probably one of the better ones. Honestly, I'm kind of thoroughly disappointed with all of the Marvel villains. Like, I feel like in most of
kinda
the,
see that.
like, even Thanos, like, they try to get you to like that you hate him. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they try to get you somehow attached to every single villain that's been there. Or like they want you to love the villain that much. Like it's kind of
They want every villain to be
Yeah.
like the next Loki.
yeah.
Almost. And, it's
And
like,
even Loki, I don't love him. I don't hate him.
To me,
He just
Loki's
is.
never really been that much.
Yeah.
Like, Loki was a villain for 1.5
Yeah,
movies. 'Cause
like
even
he's-
in Avengers,
He's
only
a
barely villain.
self-centered prick, is what he is. Like
Yeah,
he's not a
it's
hero.
true.
He's not a villain. He just wants shit for himself. Like he's not
Yeah,
like
that's true.
he just
agree with that.
like there was nothing super special about him. So like seeing all the other villains, I'm kind of like, eh. I mean, he was. Don't get me wrong. Michael B. Jordan was great in the role, and it was perfect for that movie. And I liked that him and T'Challa were like the opposite sides of the same coin. It was very well
Yeah,
done.
that was a really good dynamic.
Just as a villain in general, it wasn't like next level shit for me.
Yeah, I didn't like that he was just Black Panther dark. Like he was just
Yeah.
like evil Black Panther. He
And the
wasn't,
fact that they put them in
he
the
wasn't his
they
own
put him in the
person.
suit too, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, like I would have liked him to like have some kind of like different, like he kind of. I felt they fell into like a very traditional origin story, Marvel origin story, which is the villain is just the bad version of the good guy, right? Like Iron Man
yeah.
had Ironmonger, right, which was just evil Iron Man, and then we had Captain America, who had Red Skull, who just had a bad he took the same super soldier serum, just wasn't done yet, and that's why he turned red. So it's like, again, evil Captain America, and then
exactly.
Thor was against his brother, who wasn't really evil Thor, but it was kind of that same like, he just had that same dynamic, that same power. Or I guess in the first Thor, he just fights just the big metal dude. So I guess Thor's kind of the exception, oddly enough. But then Doctor Strange, him versus an evil Doctor Strange. So it's like this one I felt just was a little bit like he could have done something more. Or like
once again, it followed their blueprint, right? Marvel's blueprint.
Exactly. But it also kind of made sense though, because he did take on the mantle of Black Panther when he. Okay, just so everyone knows, we're doing a lot of spoilers if you haven't already realized. So like when he defeats T'Challa and takes on the role of Black Panther, I get that's how he like got that and why he has that armor. But I'm like, I would have liked it better if he maybe did something on his own, like changed it in some way.
Like
he's like, no more Black Panther. It's now whatever. Like he picked Black Lions or whatever. Like what you know what I mean?
Black
like,
Falcons or some shit.
Just
like,
something different, so that he was like distinguished himself a little bit more from the Black Panther before. But at the same time, it had more cultural reverence. I get that. I felt it did fall a little into the cliche of the.
He was Black. Was it Black Jaguar or something like that instead of Black Panther? So I guess slight change. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, slight change. But I mean, it's still a big ass cat. Still a big ass cat.
Yeah, and it was just the point was they both had the exact same powers. That's always my problem.
Yeah.
Like I like to see I don't want to see Iron Suit versus Iron Suit or Vibranium Suit versus Vibranium Suit. I like to see that difference. Yeah. Like see not just because then it's just a skill versus who has more willpower, right? As opposed to like, the hero has to overcome whatever ability the villain has. That's what I like. I
like a Lex Luthor Superman thing, where Lex Luthor, he doesn't have the physical brawn and the powers, but his brain is just so high level.
He thinks up these plans that to defeat Superman.
Yeah.
And
without
having where he doesn't
brawn
have to, he's not
versus
just trying
brain,
to get,
right?
Exactly. And so I like that as opposed to just brawn versus brawn, or like I don't mind brawn versus brawn, but it's just like make it a little different, right? Like it just. That's just my one thing about it, but I felt Killmonger was one of the better villains.
Once again, great movie.
Great movie. Great. Everything was great about it. These are just the little things that we have to.
I think the timing might have been off. Like if they had put out Black Panther last year, I feel like leading into. Jeez, I have so many hairs on my nose. It's driving me nuts. But I feel like
very relevant.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. But I feel like if they had put it out, let's say last August or something, there would have been a lot of time in between seeing that and then leading in and building up towards, Infinity War again, which comes out next month. Plus, they've been building up to Thanos for so long since the first Avengers movie? They show him in the mid-credit scene. Like that's years that they've been building up towards this guy. I think that every leading up villain towards that is just, it's going to pale in comparison just because you're waiting for the big bad, so
That's
to speak.
fair.
So I think for
They all
myself,
are
like
kinda-
myself
yeah,
saying that
actually.
it's 2 months between one to the next,
Yeah.
I really, or even when it was supposed to come out in May, I think it was just a little too close to, to be able to say, okay, well, I know he's coming, but he's the best villain that, ever been. I know a lot of people who have come out and, like, jumped on that bandwagon and said, he's the best villain that's ever been. Like,
And to some people, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
For us,
some people don't like Batman, so, like,
Yeah,
everyone's entitled to
exactly.
their wrong opinion, but...
exactly. Like,
But I mean, he was good, but it wasn't like as a villain. I mean, it was nothing special. The acting was phenomenal. The backstory. I liked how they tied that in. He was just
Yeah, I felt
another
he was
Marvel
one of-
villain to me.
yeah. For me, I think the reason that I think a lot of people are saying he's so above the other villains is that he did have the most reasonable reasons.
Yeah.
For the most part, why he was a villain, right? Like he didn't think himself that he was a villain. He wasn't being evil for the sake of being evil. For the most part, there was few things I'm just like, well, why do you have to kill everybody?
Yeah, why did you have to
Whatever.
kill them and brand yourself? And
Yeah,
why
like,
was it
little thing-
symmetrical? Did you kill the right amount of people just so you'd be perfect on either side? And then did you get another one after you killed T'Challa, or was that your odd number so you couldn't put one to bounce? Like,
Did you not have any more spots to put
Yeah.
it? Yeah. That's
but
true.
like I think like for me the best part of him being a villain had nothing to do with like any of the real noticeable stuff where it's him versus Black Panther or stuff like that. It was the fact that he was able to be an outsider and come in and totally just flip, on its end what the country of Wakanda already believed, like being, one nation
their
with
customs,
with 5 separate, tribes involved.
Yeah.
The fact that he was able to come in and say, like, listen, I'm going to do this shit, and have the leader or, like, one of the, the people who led the way for that tribe, for the,
Yeah.
the border tribe, I think
Yeah.
it was, for them to be able to turn and go against, Wakanda
their
for
own
this
people,
new guy. Like, I thought that was
That's very
a
impressive
memorable
on his part,
moment,
yeah.
because that really hasn't happened prior to.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the attributes of why he's being considered one of the better villains. Like, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
for me, I don't know if I would say he's the best. He's definitely one of the best, I would say, Marvel
Yeah.
villains, because he had the best reasonings, the best, like, motivations, and, like, he was able to, like you said, like, convince certain parts of like, Wakanda, to go against other parts of Wakanda. He started a Wakandan civil war at one point, in a sense. So it's like, he was pretty badass in that sense. I forget where I was going with this line of
I don't know. I also think he was a little too Americanized. Like, I get that they wanted him to seem like as much of an outsider as possible,
Yeah.
but I didn't need the super American slang. I didn't need that.
He grew up in Oakland.
I know. I'm just saying I didn't need that.
What do you want from him?
I want perfection. That is all I want. Damn it.
That is perfection. He grew up in Oakland.
Ah, man. Well, he left Oakland like when he was a teenager, so it had been quite some time since he was there. He went to
Yeah, but we
friggin'
use a
he
lot
went
of
to
the slang from
military
our high
he went to
school.
military school in Annapolis.
We still say sketch sometimes.
I'm just saying he went to military school in Annapolis. That is an officer school for the Navy. So clearly, he had gone through some rigmarole shit that should have course corrected his attitude and his language skills, but it
He
didn't.
grew up in Oakland.
I don't accept that. Mm-mm.
I'm sticking with it. Sticking to my guns. Oakland isn't exactly known for being a very gentle place to grow up.
That's true. Anyways,
You got people come
Killmonger-
from other nations and killing people there, so. As well as people
Yeah.
killing their own people there. Man, this is a rough episode. I got hair on my nose. I'm spilling water all over myself. Damn.
This is what we get for doing it on a Sunday afternoon instead of a
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
That's what it is.
It's true. It's true. We're used to doing
But,
it in the dark. This daylight's messing with us.
Yeah. Craig, I feel like Scott and I have just done all the talking so far. You hit us
You
with
have said
hit us with
nothing.
your thoughts.
Part of the reason why you and Scott have done all the talking is that you've done a lot of
Thinking?
Well, you've made a lot of references to things that like I don't know anything about, like
true.
Infinity Stones. No idea.
Okay, well,
So I haven't been able to contribute because I've been outside of the loop.
Well, on that note, to continue the conversation, I don't know if either of you saw it. Scott, you might have. I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. It was some meme someone created, and it was some guy trying to come up with this crazy theory that I think at the end of it, it was actually back on the Soul Stone topic. It was actually that who was it who wrote like the songs for that, or like he created the special song for the movie. He was a rapper. The Weeknd was associated with him.
Are you talking about
I don't.
Lamar?
Yeah, that guy. My old ass does not associate with any modern music past like the '90s. I am so far out of it. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar. They were trying to explain that he's actually the Soul Stone because his character, like the point where they walk into the casino, they can hear that song.
Yeah.
Playing like it's playing over the speakers, right? The Kendrick Lamar song with The Weeknd that specifically was written for that movie and references things that happen in that movie. So like it's trying to explain, that that by doing that, Kendrick Lamar is both in fact he's aware and breaks the fourth wall knowing that he's in a Black Panther movie and that the Black Panther movie exists inside of the Black Panther movie, and it goes to like all these super meta explanations to come up with like, so this being said, that's why I think Kendrick Lamar is the Soul Stone. And then like the caption on it was, you what kind of weed are you smoking, man?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense because I'm straight rattled right now. I'm gonna see if I can.
That makes no sense. Like, some people put too much thought into things for no good reason. Like,
I'm gonna see if I can find it right now.
Just make up shit just for the sake of making it up. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like I think people are overthinking some of the like these Soul Stone theories / not thinking enough. So like the Tony Stark one, like that doesn't make any sense because the Soul Stone existed before, like at the beginning of the universe. If you know any, like
it had to exist because the gauntlet already existed.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, it can't have only been around for 10 years. Like I like the idea of maybe that his making the arc reactor maybe like sparked the Soul Stone somewhere, like, you know what I mean, like made it activate or something. Like I like that idea that somehow they're connected in that way maybe, and that's why like the whole MCU started from that point. It's because that's one thing I'm curious about most with Thanos. It's like, what has he been doing for so long? Like we've had the MCU for 10 years. It's been 6 years since at least Avengers in like the real world. I don't know how their timeline's working, but what's he been doing? Has he just been hanging out in space? Really. Does it take a long time? Like, I don't know how the MCU's space travel, like how long it takes. Like, I don't know how far the Guardians of the Galaxy are hanging out from Earth. Like, how long is that supposed to take? I don't know. But what's he been doing? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, really. Like I don't know, like the whole back on the Iron Man thing. Like when I was reading that, I was like, maybe it's because he didn't touch any flesh. Like he touched everyone else's actual flesh, like when he takes over Dr. Was it Eric, whatever his name is?
That's what I was thinking.
When they take over him, and then when he takes over Hawkeye, like he actually touches the flesh, whereas he's just touching glass and metal. Like
that's how I explained it. I was like, no, you're not touching. / like it's kind of a little bit of a mix of both of those in the sense that like he didn't touch skin / he couldn't just get straight to his heart because there was this energy field in a sense, like blocking it in this, but
but like I'm trying to find that what kind of weed are you smoking, and I found another one. This isn't it, and it's the scene from the Key and Peele show where Jordan Peele, there we go, where Jordan Peele's like he's like sweating like crazy because like his wife's going through his computer trying to find his porn and stuff. And he's like, you know, where he's like just dripping and like soaked, and it's like, and he's all purple and you can see the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, when you're Thanos and you're beating up the Avengers, then Iron Man says, "I'm calling Cable to help us," and the phone in your pocket starts to ring, and all the Avengers start to look at you. I was like, it's funny because he's played in every universe.
Yeah, that's true. But any last thoughts then on Black Panther, since we've totally got off track and only like half of this
great movie. I'm looking
talked about it.
Great movie. I'm looking forward to when it comes out on Blu-ray, adding it to the collection, watching it again. But I just found it. Perfect timing.
You found the article?
Yep. So, how Kendrick Lamar has created a paradox in the MCU. And I don't know who wrote it. I thought it said who wrote it. I was gonna reference the guy, but I can't see it. But it's
That's fine.
okay.
We can link to it on our Facebook page.
Yes, I will do that. It's like in Black Panther, there is a scene where T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye enter a hidden casino in South Korea, and as they enter, the song "Pray for Me" by Kendrick Lamar and The Weeknd starts playing. Unlike most songs in the movie, this song is actually playing in the context of the scene. The characters can hear this song. Therefore, we can conclude that Kendrick Lamar and The Weeknd exist in the MCU. However, this is where we run into trouble. Pray For Me was released on February 2nd, 2018 as part of the Black Panther, the album, by Kendrick Lamar. This album was created specifically for the movie, and many songs were inspired by the film. This creates a paradox, as Kendrick Lamar clearly exists in the MCU and wrote the song Pray For Me. However, he would have never wrote the song or the rest of the album had it not been for the movie Black Panther. So we can conclude that in the MCU, the real Black Panther exists and the film Black Panther exists. Or we can also accept a different conclusion, that Kendrick Lamar and his album somehow exist out of time, which brings me to my final and most shocking conclusion. Kendrick Lamar is the Soul Stone.
So, I don't know anything.
I'm going to stop before you go any further. I just need to
disagree
stop every one of those points because none of it made any kind of sense whatsoever. First of all, there's no proof that in the MCU that was Kendrick Lamar who did that song. You are associating real world facts with a fictional universe. You can't do that. You can't just be like, that's like saying, oh, is there Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU who looks exactly the same as Iron Man? No, it's just a thing that doesn't matter because we're watching a fictional representation of a fictional universe. You twats. Like, come on. Like,
wow.
It's just such a stupid thought. Like,
I had a different question. Mine was more, I don't really remember that scene very well. So how, are we just implying that it can be heard?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, he's just assuming that, like, they're hearing it in the
comments, and there's 378 comments.
Because he's an idiot.
One of the ones I'm looking at right now is someone trying to, like, justify this. Also, Method Man goes by Johnny Blaze and makes numerous Ghost Rider references in his songs. But how would he know if the Ghost Rider had been hidden for centuries? So I guess they're trying to associate that Method Man is actually in the MCU. Here's another one.
He is, because he was in Luke Cage.
Oh, that's true. It's like,
no. So Method Man is in the MCU, but my point was that we don't know that Kendrick Lamar was the one who sang that song. Maybe it was Lamar Kendrick in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a different character who sang the exact same song. We're just associating facts in the real world to like fictional facts in a created universe. You know what I mean? That's the part I'm annoyed about. I'm like, man, you can't try and justify things like that. That's like, okay, so this kind of reminded me of this one thing that I always kind of like bugs me, but like doesn't. And that's in Batman v Superman, when you see the flashback of Batman, like going through Metropolis while Superman's fighting Zod, right? The car he's in is a vehicle that was released 3 years after Man of Steel. Yep. Like, it's a brand new Jeep that never existed before. So, and that scene's supposed to take place during Man of Steel, which took place 3 or 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years before Batman v Superman.
It's like every old movie that they make nowadays that's supposed to take place back in the 20s when it's 30s vehicles on the roads.
Exactly.
They're just trying to make it look cool, man.
They're doing their best with what they can do. That's all it comes down to. Like, they wanted a Kendrick Lamar song in Black Panther.
So he
wrote a song. He's
the modern day Biggie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know about that. I can't speak to.
I'm stuck in the 90s. But here's another one. No mention that the film actually takes place in 2016, 2 years before the release of the song. So that's another person trying to say Kendrick Lamar exists outside of time. Are you fucked?
See, again, everybody's associate. They're just all associating real world things with a fictional universe, right? Like it just it just makes no sense.
That's like movie science, right? Like it's a
just
totally
because it
different
happens
thing.
in real life doesn't mean it has to happen in a fictional universe. Because guess what?
But you guys were
Fictional universes are
debating
created.
vibranium at the beginning, just so we're all.
What'd you say?
You guys were debating the physical properties of vibranium.
We
at
were
the beginning,
asking
just
the
so-
question.
How they
of
mine
that.
it.
We
That's-
wanted them to give us the fictional answer to that fictional question. I also
Be-
said
bec-
I
none of this
agree with that.
matters.
Because they've established in the MCU that when shit hits vibranium, it absorbs the kinetic energy of that. So I just want to know how they figured out how to start doing it in the first place. I want actual answers. Like I'm just intrigued.
Yes, whereas this guy is trying to make
Is
up
entire-
answers
yes.
and questions
around it.
that
Yep.
that are irrelevant to anything. Like it doesn't matter if Kendrick Lamar exists in the MCU or not, or if that song played any significant role. Because guess what? It was 30 seconds of one film out of 18 in the cinematic universe. Zero significance.
yeah.
Not zero significance, but it has nothing to do. Like that song isn't the connection to the Soul Stone. Is my point. And just thinking it is
you
just
still haven't even definitively proven to me that it was actually played in the movie.
That's
for
my
the
point.
characters
Yeah,
to hear,
exactly.
Because it hasn't. There's no evidence that's been brought up to say.
like
that
did one of the
that
characters
they
sing
can
along
actually-
with it?
Well, yeah,
Does
that's
someone
my
bob
question.
their
Black,
head
Black
so
Panther the
referenced?
musical.
Yeah, it's like we don't.
Is the music referenced? Is
Yeah.
is my bigger
Yeah.
question.
And do we like my point? Like, is it referenced? Is it like even technically Kendrick Lamar in this MCU universe? / who cares? Like,
Yeah, even if it is referenced, you still have a harder time convincing me that it's actually Kendrick Lamar.
Here's someone's their rebuttal against it. Lol, the song's actually The Weeknd's, not Kendrick. So it just totally
that's a bad argument.
Yeah.
That's
It's
just-
trying to
that's
say, well,
really-
it's not
really
Kendrick's, not the Soul Stone, it's
semantic.
Weeknd's.
Okay, let's just move past this theory.
Well,
it's just-
back to the
good
caption, which is a great caption, like I said before. What kind of weed you on, bruh? But I saw that and I was like, man, what the fuck? First of all, how do you
that's
have
just-
that much time on your hands that you can come up with that?
just some people just don't do anything productive with their lives except for just write garbage. like I don't mind fan theories. It's just that kind of theory is just doesn't take into any like kind of common sense thinking, which is that it's a fictional universe, so the reason it happened is because someone decided it was going to happen. Like that's why I'm always annoyed. Like, oh, why did this happen? Oh, because an author or a musician or whoever decided that that's what they wanted it to happen. Like that's all. There's no magic reason why Kendrick Lamar's song was in it, other than they decided to have a Kendrick Lamar song in the movie.
Yep.
That's why everything's in a movie, because someone
Made a
it was going to
decision,
be.
yeah.
Someone made that
Someone
decision.
in the real world
Yes.
decided
That's
something
it.
for the fake world.
Exactly. And so trying to like justify it with fake world reasoning is just it's nonsense.
Yeah, that would be like somebody saying that John Williams is in Star Wars.
Exactly. That's very true. Like,
Well,
that's
I mean,
almost the same part. Like it's
he
like,
had-
well,
Aside from the
well,
fact
you don't
that
know that they don't hear the music every time
Exactly.
they pop up. This
John
is a galaxy
Williams-
far, far away. They
Okay,
got
here you go.
speakers everywhere.
I got it for you. So John Williams wrote the Cantina song that is clearly heard in the Cantina
Yep.
in Mos Eisley
Yes.
by the characters. So there you go. John Williams exists outside of our.
Well,
outside of time
I mean,
because it's a galaxy
technically, if
far,
you
far
want to
away,
get
a long
technical,
time ago.
there was an animated version of him in Family Guy, A Blue Harvest. So I mean,
now we're just getting too far down the
semantics.
Semantics. But I mean, if we can't talk semantics, then do we even have a podcast?
Yeah, what's
really?
the
Like if we can't go on tangents and talk about like shenanigans and different things.
This is
like
our podcast. We get to create our own rules.
Basically,
Exactly.
if we accept that Kendrick Lamar is in the MCU, then we have to change everything.
Yeah, exactly.
About real life everywhere.
You have to start like
no.
you
Or you
have
can accept that. You can accept he's in the. I'm not saying that he's not. My point was that you don't have proof he was. But if he is
Exactly.
in the MCU, though, the only significance that means is that he's not. It's the same significance as in real life. He's just
He's just a
famous
singer in there, right?
successful singer. Exactly. There's no reason why in the MCU he'd be any more than a singer. And it's like, oh well, this song came out later in the year. You don't know what the timeline is.
It's not like
in
Iron
this
Man.
alternate fictional universe. Songs could have come out differently. Maybe Kendrick Lamar was a little better at recording in the Marvel MCU, so he got the song out a year earlier. You know, like.
It's not like Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3, I can't remember which one it is, where they have Elon Musk in it, and Elon Musk is playing himself. Yeah, whichever one it is, where it's Elon Musk playing himself.
Yeah.
It's not like that, where they actually go to the way to show it's him. No, like...
Exactly. Like, my point just being is, like, just because a celebrity may exist in the MCU doesn't create any significance for that person.
Like,
yeah, exactly. In the
whole theory behind Kendrick Lamar being in there and being like a whole, a next level like god type thing is fucking bullshit, because then the actors playing the characters in theory would be in there themselves, right? There would be a Robert Downey Jr. actually in the MCU, not Tony Stark. So, man, put the fucking weed down.
That poor guy would just constantly be asked, "Oh, are you Tony Stark?"
I'm like, no.
Exactly.
I look like him, but no.
I'm just a guy. Leave me alone.
But
anyways, wrapping up the Black Panther discussions.
segment, yes.
What
part of this was actually Black Panther?
Yeah. You need to see it, but don't go see it in theaters anymore. Scott's got a big enough head start on us.
No, you gotta go see it, guys. Keep seeing it.
Illegally download it.
No,
or,
don't do that. Don't do
buy
that.
it on Blu-ray when it comes out.
You have to go buy 3 tickets so you don't have to sit next
don't
to you.
do it. Give Craig and I a shot.
Support this movie. Let's make this movie the highest grossing movie ever until Infinity War comes out. They make that the highest movie ever.
Everyone illegally download it so Craig so Craig has a chance to come in first.
Go watch it in theaters. Support your
Do it for Craig.
Large theater
I'll just be
chains.
happy if I come in second.
Buy
at this
popcorn.
Point.
Help Craig win this.
Bring your mom and your friends. Get all the tickets.
Don't spend any time with your family ever.
Yeah.
Don't help Scott win.
Unless you're going to see Solo. Or
yes.
Any other things.
Only go see Craig's movies. Make sure you take your grandma and your great grandma to go see Ocean's 8. Empower them. Go see Ocean's 8.
There's no way I picked that, is there?
Yeah, you did, man. I'm sure you picked Ocean's 8.
Shit.
You picked it, did you not?
We drafted so bad. Yes, I did.
Yes.
Speak for yourselves.
You picked it, man.
I did some research. But anyway, should we move on to what did you try to rename this?
What was it? WW ampersand $49 sign.
To go up watch this week, or WWFTGUWTW.
Yeah, that one.
Rolls right off the tongue, right?
I veto this. Let's not use that one ever.
Yeah, veto. Last time we were ever using that one, but let's start it for this week.
That would be too big to fit inside the WWWTW fish anyways.
WWWWWWWWTW.
Left.
Well, none of us watched that this week.
No. What did you watch this week, Craig?
Yeah, tell us, Craig, since you haven't talked much today.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Geez, what did I watch this week?
It hasn't been very long.
I know. It's Sunday mornings, or it's Sunday afternoon now, but it was Sunday morning, and I watched the Joel McHale show.
Easy like Sunday morning.
Nice. I haven't got to that today yet. I didn't wake up early
It's pretty good. They changed the credit lyrics again.
Nice. I like that.
And referenced it. Yeah.
I'll be interested to hear what those are this time.
Exactly. So that was pretty good. Yesterday, I watched a documentary called Take Your Pills. It's about ADD drugs and how, like, all kinds of stuff, really. It's not just, like, are they good or bad? It's also, like, are some people addicted to them? Is there an issue with people being misdiagnosed or people just taking them for the sake of taking them? What happens to you when you become an adult and take them? And all kinds of stuff like that. So it was really interesting. I thought that one was really well done.
Was it on Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
What was that one called, Craig?
It's called Take Your Pills.
Okay.
Sounds interesting.
So it's a bunch of different... it basically hits on a bunch of different people and different perspectives on it.
Yeah, and how they're each dealing with it. Or...
Like a former Bears player whose name I can't remember.
Describe him to me.
Don't do
He
that.
retired early, got suspended for 4 games for taking Adderall. Or
Sounds like
really
90% of the 90% of the NFL.
Yeah. I can't remember. He wasn't like a big time
Yeah, it was probably
NFL
just
player, but he was in the NFL. So like him as an adult taking it to kind of focus while he was playing football. You got a doctor who's like really big on the take your Ritalin pills thing.
Oh god.
Researchers, an art student who decided he didn't want to take it anymore because of the effect it was having on him. Parents, that kind of thing.
That
So
sounds
it
interesting.
kind of gives you a bunch of different perspectives on it. It was really interesting.
Cool.
Eben Britton was his name.
That
He was. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure he was an offensive lineman.
That sounds right too. He's not a small guy.
No, he's a big player.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good documentary. It was one of the better ones I've seen in a while. I like it when Netflix puts out a documentary that's compelling and it's not necessarily about a subject that you would think about.
Yeah, it's always I always find it fascinating which ones like they post. Some of them are very cliche, ones that there are a million of, but they do once in a while have one that's like, oh, I didn't think I was interested to find out about that. Like the toys that made us. That was a
Yes.
really interesting one for me, at least. That was the last really interesting documentary series I watched on there. But what else did you watch, Craig?
I'm watching a baseball game now.
Who's winning?
Full disclosure, the Jays are beating the Pirates right now 2-1. I obviously missed the 2 runs while I was busy engaging in conversation here.
Priorities, right?
I know, right? What else did I watch this week? I think that's pretty much it. We haven't had that much time.
Yeah, it's only been a few
I-
days since our last recording.
Exactly. So, yeah, the only things that come to mind are the documentary and the Joel McHale show.
Nice. What about you, Scott? What do you have?
I was in the same kind of boat. I didn't get to watch too much since it's been a shorter week, but I did get through a few things. I watched The Killjoys, which I've talked about before. It's just a
Someone
sci-fi
dying
show.
somewhere? Damn.
It's not here.
We'll close the door.
Oh.
Anyways.
Sounds like someone playing ping pong.
Oh, he's also playing a video game, so he's probably
That's
just TV.
probably it. Yeah.
Should probably turn the gain down on this mic. Anyways, but yeah, I watched The Killjoys, which I really enjoy. That's on Crave TV. It's an interesting little sci-fi. But I also was watching Batman Beyond. I just started the second or third season. 'cause I still haven't
Finally, eh?
finished those.
Jeez.
I forgot about it for a little bit.
Man,
to be
you've had that
honest.
since we started, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, that's when I borrowed it. I got through the first season, and then I took like a little break, and then I just forgot about it.
At least
and,
24
just
weeks.
Piled on top of it, yeah. So I'm getting back to it. That's always a fun show to rewatch. I enjoy
Yeah.
that one. And the only other thing I watched besides our normal stuff, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Once Upon a Time, all the DC shows. But I watched Gotham as well amongst those TV shows. And this episode was kind of interesting because we saw Bruce fighting Poison Ivy. We saw Poison Ivy and Catwoman fighting. And then we saw the Penguin and the Riddler team up. And so I thought it was very, very Batman-esque Gotham episode.
See, as we know, I'm not heavy into Gotham because I disagree
No.
with the whole concept. How
I know.
old is he in that show?
So
'Cause,
now he
'cause,
seems
like,
to be
when
like
a-
18. Like he seems to be like a
Okay.
young.
Because
Like
he was
some
like
kind of-
10 when it first came out. Like they portrayed him
Kind
as
of
like a
like
10
12.
or 11-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's grown up pretty quickly. It's in its
Wait, so
fourth
he's, like-
season already. But they definitely skipped a year or so. I think they had some like
They had to
some
have to
time
grow him
jumps.
up.
Yeah, because he seems to be like closer to 17, 18
Yeah.
now. Because you
Well,
see him
well, he-
partying a little bit.
Okay.
'Cause he
Well, he
goes
just
through a
killed
whole
Ra's al Ghul earlier
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
season,
So
didn't he?
exactly. So he killed Ra's al Ghul earlier in the season or last season, and he's kind of went on this like self-destructive path where he's being like the typical, playboy. But now
Yeah.
in this episode, in the last couple episodes, he's starting to he's had a couple like realizations of being like, oh, this isn't who he really is. He has Poison Ivy actually like poisons him with one thing, and he has a little vision in his mind where he kind of meets Batman in himself.
Oh, okay.
But he just meets like a black figure. It's you know what I mean? So it's just like
Okay, so he hasn't
just-
fully seen the
exactly
cowl
but
and the cape.
But it's pretty much like he saw the darkness inside of him,
Okay.
right? That's gonna become Batman. So he sees that darkness and it's like, I'm who you really are, and that's makes Bruce kind of like start to give up the partying and start to like try and learn who he is, make up with Alfred because him and stuff like that. But I'm just really enjoying seeing this how they're starting to make it into a little more Batman-esque.
Man, the more I hear you talk about this, the more I'm like, God. Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't,
so you
quit
say
tinkering. Quit
to
tinkering.
me, yeah, you could say that about Smallville though. Like 15 years ago, like Smallville.
Yeah, but Smallville started off with no names, right? Like they didn't try to associate actual characters until like later on.
Yeah, but then
whereas
they did.
Gotham, they started off with
it, yeah.
like,
but it's also because they had less to work with.
I mean, I'm a firm believer. I'm from like the old age of Batman.
Yeah.
In quotations, where like Batman's villains exist solely because Batman exists.
See,
like that's the way I grew up. That's what I believe in. I can't have villains who exist prior to.
See, I'm a little bit on the like both sides of that. Like I like the idea that certain villains, like the Joker, I don't think really should exist. I think like what in my opinion it's more like they all take on their villain persona because of Batman, but that doesn't mean they weren't criminals before. Does that make sense?
I don't know. With
so that's like
Mr. Freeze, like I firmly believe that was a post Batman.
Well,
and then like
yes
Pamela Isley didn't go like super villainess until like she started to become Poison Ivy, right? Like she wasn't like super villainy like prior. Like she was on the cusp, and then when she decided, you know what, I am Poison Ivy, that's when she crosses over.
That's what I mean. That's kind of like my point too. It's just like that's what I was trying to say. It's like they see Batman and that makes them go to that extreme.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they didn't exist at all before Batman came out.
No, like if they reference the characters and show them, like show me a Victor Zsasz in prison, I can see that. Like that's believable. But I don't like that they're giving you like the fucking character names and like showing their stuff.
I don't like how I agree. Like they do go a little far with it. Like I would like if like. The Riddler takes a little more time to discover his personality, but I do like that they are building these characters up beforehand, because I do like the idea of like Batman has a Gotham that he has to like clean up in a sense, as opposed to just a lot of like that there's more to the criminal underworld of Gotham than just there's a bunch of thugs until Batman comes in and then it goes crazy. That to me is just a little like yes and no. Like to me, I like the idea that it's a little wacky before, but then Batman comes in, it just gets turned up to an 11 because of Batman. But I get why you would be a little more apprehensive to it. I enjoy it for like the Easter egg-ness of it. And like to me, it's a different Batman story. Like to me, it's a different Batman than the ones we've seen before. Like every Batman's a different Batman to me, right? Like it's it's all in the multiverse of Batman.
I don't like
have a different startup story.
It's just not for me.
I get that. Yeah,
I don't think anything can, unless the actor who plays Jim Gordon drops dead tomorrow and Gary Oldman says, you know what, I'll take it over. You know what, I'll leave it behind. I'll watch it from time to time, but
that's a little harsh.
That's the only thing that's going to get me involved in this Jim Gordon Batman story.
Yeah, and I don't know if that seems a little extreme, but okay. Like I'm not saying you have to watch it. I was just defending why I think it's all right.
Like I don't know. I mean, I'm just heavy into Batman. I don't like it when they start fucking around with shit just to get like that. Plus, I mean, I've been kind of vocal about it the last little while.
But
I think superheroes are getting oversaturated. I think they're taking like stuff that we waited our whole life for and they're giving it to us in just fucking huge doses, to the point where people, myself included, like I'm getting kind of tired of like 5 or 6 superhero movies every year. Like a handful of new shows getting added to the already existing ones. Like I think it's gonna kill like the beauty of it, to the point where people are like, well, I'm fucking sick of it, man. Like I don't want to see that shit, because they already did that with all like the preteen romance shit that was huge for like 4 or 5 years. It was building up, and then it finally became the big thing, and then everyone's tried to get into that, try to market themselves and make all the money they can off that, and they killed it. Like they killed the whole genre for that. So like I'm afraid that they're making too much when it comes to superhero movies and superhero TV shows and everything, that it's gonna be so oversaturated. Over the next 5 years, people are gonna wake up and be like, well, fuck. Like we've seen too many of the big name comic book lines that have already happened. What are you gonna do? I'm sick of it. Let's fucking let's just go jerk off in a corner somewhere for the next 6 years until they find the new subject.
I would disagree slightly with that, because I agree that we're getting a lot. The only reason I would like push back against that is, do you know how many different just comic books there are?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying like
you know what I mean? Like there. So like I get what you're saying, but at the same time, not everyone is going to every superhero movie. Not everyone is like. I think I think a lot of people have this like, are kind of like assuming that just because you watch one superhero movie, you'll see them all. But then there's people like my brother who watches some of them, but doesn't watch most of them.
But like when it comes to like mainstream media and everything, you only see the ones that are like the big ones that are being pushed, right? I mean, you turn on the TV and
arguably that's just the bubble we're kind of stuck in.
Yeah,
we like superheroes, so we only get shown superhero stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like even on TV, like the odd time I turn it on to watch something that's not superhero related, even like I'm watching the news, and 9 out of 10 of the of the trailers that I'm going to see for movies throughout that are going to be something related to superhero, and I'm afraid they're going to just be it's going to be so out there, that people are just going to get sick of it. Not superhero fans in general, but like everyone, who's spending the extra little bit of money. Because realistically, there's only so many of us out there who go to every single superhero movie, like once, twice. Like there's a lot of their money comes from people who get dragged along, right? Like I'd say easily.
Actually, I wouldn't say that.
Like I'd say
maybe a portion, like a 10% or.
No, it's got to be higher than that.
No,
man, think how many girlfriends get dragged to.
Though.
No, not even remotely close to 50. Not even remotely close.
Then how much higher than 30%?
I gotta say it's at least 25%.
That's not much higher than what I said.
Yeah, no, but like you made it seem like 50. Like a quarter though. A quarter of $1 billion is $250 million. That's a lot of fucking money though.
Yeah, but that's also the difference between like Black Panther and Ant-Man, which I'll agree with you that there are certain movies that make I think there's the extra oomph that you get from those 25% on certain movies, like the Avengers, the big significant ones, right? So that's why DC, that's why Wonder Woman last year was such a crazy hit, because it had that more significant, it brought in the other aspects besides the comic book fans. But I think you're underestimating how many hardcore, I want to see every comic book movie fans there actually are. Because
I'm just saying I don't want to see it happen, and especially on TV as well. Like I don't want them to just fucking make too much, because it's on TV it's getting that way. Whether there's so many different shows out there, there just isn't enough fucking time to sit down and watch them all.
No one's forcing you to watch them all. Is my point.
No, I'm just saying I don't want to see people get sick of it. Is my thing. My point isn't that there's too much out there. My point is I don't want to see the subject or the topic die like it has with so many, Westerns were big, and then people just got fucking sick of them, so they stopped going to them. Same thing with, I just mentioned with, the, your preteen romance stuff. That was big for so many years, and people just got sick of it because everyone was doing it. I just don't want it to get oversaturated. I don't want it to die.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I was just saying I don't think it will. I think that
Gotham can go fuck itself, because I have no use for that shit whatsoever. But
I think that there is enough, I think there's enough interest in, individual storylines. So there's enough Marvel fans to keep the Marvel movies going, but the rest of the world, the mainstream, I think there's a little bit of a blur between the mainstream and then the niches. Does that make sense? Because
maybe if they're gonna do the niche shit, be like DC does with a lot of their animated stuff, make it a direct to movie, put it direct to movie. Keep.
Well, that's why we're getting the streaming services coming. That's why Marvel or Disney's making their own streaming service, so they can do more direct to stuff that it's more worth it. Because they do have direct to DVD. Marvel stuff. It's just not as good. It's just not great. I just don't want to see I turn on the TV one day and it's every show is related to that, and then we end up with 400 Big Bang Theories that are superhero related, where I'm like, yo, fuck this show. There's no point. That's my point. Is I don't think it's going to go much further than it already has.
I have to hope
there will be a certain level that'll kind of level off, but I don't think my point was that I don't think it's going to crash and burn. It's just that I think we're going to hit a certain level, and that people who enjoy it, because there are saturation. I'd agree there are a lot of comic book stuff, but there's also ones that you haven't even touched or even care about.
Oh, watching, for sure, yeah.
That but there are ones that are super fans of, iZombie. That's technically a comic book movie or a comic book TV show, right? I've never watched a single episode of it, but it's.
Well, I'm talking superhero stuff, not comics. Superheroes.
Superheroes like specific.
Like I'm not talking. Yeah, I'm not talking
Well,
like
then
comic stuff. I don't want to see superhero stuff in general crash and burn, because superhero stuff is what's becoming like. It already is like that big next blockbuster stuff, right? That's what's bringing it in now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see that crash and burn is what I'm saying. Like, move on to the next genre just because there's so much of it. People are like, oh, let's find this next thing and get onto that next niche.
Yeah, I can't imagine people getting tired of superheroes. That's my thing. Like, I just can't imagine that. But at the same time, I don't understand people who don't like superheroes. So maybe you're right. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will.
You're in your cocoon. You're like, it's safe. Give me as many superheroes as you can.
Well, that's just how I feel. I'm just like, just keep giving it to me. I just want more and more of them.
Well, until it got there, people weren't that huge into superheroes either, right? I mean, it took a long time for the MCU to get off the ground.
Yes and no. Like, I agree. Like, that's what I was saying before. Like, it's just there's so many people in the world now that like calling one thing mainstream is just kind of like. It's mainstream to us, but there are people who just, like, literally superhero movies just don't exist to them. Does that make sense? It's like,
yeah,
like, and they're part of mainstream culture just as much as like superheroes are. It's just superheroes just make more like they just stick out more to us, I feel, and that's why we think like, oh, that's all there is, and it's like there's maybe getting too much, but it's like to the rest.
Well, the fact that they tried to make
don't care about superheroes already, or just
the fact that they already tried to make that show about like that takes place in the superhero realm, but none of them have powers. Powerless,
yeah,
or something. The fact that they're trying to make shit like that, like that's what kind of scares me. That they're gonna try to just fucking reach for the stars and like hope they can latch on to something and make a couple bucks. Well, like shit like that is what
Hollywood does that with
me.
Everything, no matter what. Like there are Star Wars ripoffs and there's superhero ripoffs everywhere. So it's like.
However, Star Wars, big screen stuff, especially, there aren't that many. You know, there's a handful. You can count them on two hands.
Successful. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's my point, though, is that
whereas
superheroes have a little bit more of a not broader appeal. Superheroes have what my point is with superheroes is that there are different types of superhero fans, and I think that there are enough like core superhero fans that it probably will stick around, like keep sticking around. For the most part, just like enough. Like I agree that we're hitting a point where like this year I think there's 10 to 12 superhero movies coming out in total. Yeah. And I agree. I think it's going to slowly drop from that. Like we're already starting to see it.
I feel like in order for like longevity, it has to. Like you can't keep pumping out that many because that's so many studio dollars.
Because it's affecting the quality. I think that's
absolutely.
like the argument there. Because like Powerless, I don't think was a bad idea. I think it was just the quality because how quickly they tried to ramp it out.
I think if it had been animated, it would have been. It may have like you've been able to appeal it to a younger audience and been able to latch it on for a couple seasons.
The show just didn't have an identity, in my opinion. Like I didn't know why I wanted to keep watching it, other than I was curious what was good. Like I liked the show, the Powerless show. I watched all the episodes of it before it was canceled, but it was also like I was watching it just because it was another superhero show that I was curious about. The fact that it got canceled, I was just like, okay, whatever. I wasn't. There was no investment in that show, which I think we'll see a lot less of those types of shows. A lot less of the
I fucking hope so. Anyway,
the kind of like random we think this might work quirky things, and they're going to stick with a few more of the ones that are already proven to work, like certain characters, certain types of stories, certain movies. Not as many movies. Like DC I think is going to decrease how many movies they're doing a year, but they at the same time none of them have like given up on the 5-10 years stake of we're still got 10 years of movies planned. So I think it'll be here for a while yet.
I have to hope so anyways.
Yes.
We just went off on a long tangent with that.
That was super long.
What is left on your list?
No, that was all my list.
That was all your list.
Gotham was the end of my list, and then that kind of sidetracked us into this whole conversation.
Over to mine. I also didn't watch a whole hell of a lot. Most of mine are comedy specials. I've got... I watched Bill Burr, Why Do I Do This? Because Bill Burr is funny as shit.
Yeah.
I watched Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Oh, nice. I was watching
because that's fairly short episodes that just you don't even watch too many funny things, just casual banter between two funny ass people.
It's just interesting. I like the little random stories they tell about their
lives
and stuff in that. Like I was watching the one with him and Barack Obama.
Yeah, was that season 2 or something like that?
Yeah, I just watched that last night before.
Yeah.
So I like putting it on as a it's a good show to just like put on while you're like maybe making dinner or something.
Oh
so
yeah,
you don't actually have to watch it.
It's really good
because they're
white
just talking.
noise, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. White noise.
I watched some Family Guy just because Family Guy is good for filler.
Yes.
I watched Oh Hello,
Which I entirely forgot to put on the list.
He watched it because I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also crushed a good portion of American Gods, which is a fantastic show.
Phenomenal show.
Worth all the hype.
Top like 1, 2, probably tie. There's a 3-way tie for my favorite show of last year, and it was
Absolutely.
that Legion, and probably Westworld if that was last year, but that might have been the year before that. But yes, that's. What's your favorite thing about American Gods? I mean, you've talked about it a few times.
Oh man,
For our
I gotta
listeners,
say,
just a few things.
I like the little hidden gems in it, or like the hidden
I like that,
references to stuff. Like I texted you about it with Mr. Wednesday, as he's called, and like when they first introduced him, I'm sitting there, I'm like, is this guy fucking Odin?
Yeah.
And they don't come out and say it, and they haven't even really
Have
come
they
out
got
that
to that
far.
point
And
with you yet?
not yet, no.
Yeah,
they haven't got there and
don't-
even really hinted at it. You know he's an old god. You know he's associated with them.
Yeah.
And like I texted you about, the only reason I picked up on it was because there was a lot of times there's the ravens
Yeah.
follow
Flying around
that happen to be there following Shadow
Yeah.
around, or like when they're driving the car, and I think it's episode 2 or episode 3, Shadow's driving the car and you got the ravens flying behind them.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, this kind of implies that he's either working for Odin or he is Odin.
Yeah.
Either way, it's awesome. And I also
so
like that they've got gods over every different type of mythology, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
got your Norse gods. They've got
Well, because the concept is that like once you believe in something, that's what creates it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. So it's like, oh, if you believe in that Jesus is African American, there's an African American.
Well, they have the whole little rant where
Jesus, yeah.
where fucking was a Mexican Jesus, and they straight up call him the derogatory term for Mexicans, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So like there are those different kinds, and I like that they all exist and they're all right too. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a religious person myself, as everyone knows, but I like that like when everyone dies, automatically Anubis is your boy. Anubis is the one that comes and like he points you in the direction and says, well, you're an atheist, you don't believe in shit. I'm here to tell you that shit exists. Now go into your black abyss and spend the rest of your life in nothingness.
Yeah, not believing
Like,
in anything.
like I like that, and I also like that they have a fucking leprechaun, top of the morning to you,
that was my
who's just
favorite thing, too,
who's
yeah.
just a super fucking bitter son of a bitch. Oh,
Yeah. He's had a hard life.
yeah, I love that.
He has no luck whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Well, he had it until he lost his
Well, he
coin.
did. Yeah, I know, but that's my point. Like he loses it pretty quickly, and it's just like, oh,
His
damn,
his lucky charm.
his lucky charm. What
But
do you
that,
think of his wife? Like of the dead, not dead wife?
no man, like I want to like her, but I hate her at the same time.
Same.
Like,
I hate her guts because how she went out in life, sucking his best friend's dick.
but
Fuck that bitch.
but she justifies it all. Like, and like I just
I don't
actually.
like her justification. She's a sociopath. Like she's
Well, yeah.
There's
Well,
something
one of the
tweaked
last
in her
episodes.
mind.
Yeah. Well, one of the last episodes I watched actually was the one where like they explain how she came back and like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and while Shadow's in jail and why he goes to jail because they hadn't really talked about that at that
Yeah.
point. And like she's just so fucking miserable with everything.
Yeah.
And that's why like everything happens. And I was like, oh man, that kind of makes sense. I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
such
hate
an
her.
interesting, well-told story. I hate her guts like so much. Like she comes back to him too, and just expects him to be cool with
Oh,
this
yeah.
chick who came back from the
Or
dead.
or the fact that she died with Dane Cook's mouth in her dick, and then goes right over to to his. Or
Mouth
yeah,
in his dick?
mouth in his dick. Her mouth around his dick,
yeah, it's just like
severs it with her teeth from the car accident, and then goes missing her arm. She goes right over to his wife / her former best friend's house and asks for her help.
yeah, like
And like while she's in the shower, and then just shits in her toilet. So like how do you assume things
I
are going to
hate
be
that
okay?
lady. Yeah,
but at
exactly.
the same time, she's like, I know you hate me, but I'm like, life doesn't really work that way, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm just like, no, you don't get to say that. Like, you don't get to just be like, oh, I know you hate me, but I'm back. And it's like, no, fuck off. Go back. Like, I don't
Die!
I don't want your smelly ass here. Like, you're rotting. You're literally rotting right now. What
And
is
the fact that
happening?
Anubis is a fucking a cremator or whatever, or not a cremator, he's like a funeral, like the dead person guy, the mortician. He's a mortician in the one episode where he's like telling her like, oh yeah, you know, you're gonna need this to like be able to, you know, he's just talking to her like it happens every day that dead people come
All
back
the
to
time.
life.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I like this show. I'm fucking hooked, man. I
it's
want,
so good,
like I told you, I want infinite seasons that I can sit there and just watch.
And like honestly, it could have so many different seasons because you could tell the story from like you could
Different-
follow so many
different-
different gods,
different
and
vantage points, right?
Exactly. Like I'm very curious to see what this story is and what like the significance of Shadow's character is. And
Oh yeah,
what
I
the
like that
storyline is going towards.
their definition of the new gods are just things that really control our everyday life. Like you got
Well,
Mr.
yeah.
You know,
That's the things we worship nowadays.
technology kid, or whatever the hell his name was. You got
Techno Boy or
yeah,
something
Techno
like that.
Boy, whatever the hell it is. You got that, and then you've got television and the mainstream media, like,
Yeah, I love.
and that's what it
Gillian
is.
Anderson.
Yeah, and like that's what it is.
That's the one I worship.
Yeah, I Love Lucy.
Yep.
But like they've got the three main things. I can't remember what the third one is, but they've got all them, and they basically they pull the strings, you know, behind the scenes for everyday life. All the knowledge we get,
Oh, yeah.
everyone wakes up, the first thing they do is check their phone, you know, and they've really got it bang on, and they hit it right on the head without being too like in your face about it.
Yeah, too like preachy about it. They do
Yeah.
a good job of showing, not telling you. Not like
Exactly, that's what it
they're
is.
the ones controlling your lives. It's like, oh no, this is the things they do, and you're just like,
yeah.
oh, they're controlling our lives.
Yeah,
Like, oh, this
it's
is
so
what I
well
do
done.
worship to. Like, yeah, it's such a good show. It's well done. It's really making me interested to check out the novel and the graphic novels.
Oh,
that are
absolutely.
Based off of it. Because I just want to get more of the story and more of it. But I'm also kind of holding off doing those because I want to see. I don't want to ruin, spoil it for me by reading ahead or anything like that. So I'm very interested to like learn about this as it unfolds because it is a comic, like it's based off a comic book, but it's not one that I know anything about going into. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying. Like it's really enjoyable just to sit and just learn it all from it. And yeah, it's a great show. It's on Amazon Prime for anybody who hasn't watched it. Definitely should check it out.
Go watch it before you watch Gotham, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, well, see, like, those aren't even on the same level. Like,
Not trying to spark the fire.
Gotham
that-
is just like it's just fun. That's just, whereas American Gods is
Intense.
like good. Like
Intense.
American
So
Gods,
good.
I would actually recommend. I would never recommend Gotham. Gotham I watch because I enjoy it. It's my guilty pleasure or like it's like sugar to me. It's bad for me, I know, but I like to have it anyways.
Absolutely
But
terrible for
American
you.
Gods made me feel like I learned something. Like I don't like it makes you think about different stuff and just it's so well shot too. It's beautifully shot for a TV show. Like the special
Oh,
effects.
100%.
I like that they don't go too realistic with it. They play with the fantasy kind of aspect of it, not trying
I
to
like that it's
oh,
kind of grainy too, like the film.
Exactly,
Like, it's
that's what I
very
mean, yeah.
dark and like.
to hide the see. I've heard that they do the dark to hide effects in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's easier to do darker effects because you can't see as much detail. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
cool, do it.
I've most of the movie I feel like is the same fucking brightness, or the show is the same brightness
Yeah.
as like my room right here.
definitely.
Like
yeah.
it's dark, but just enough that you can see.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, I think that's it for us here this week.
Yes.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up with your opinions of things. Try to fuel the fire. And we actually, you know what? I'd like to hear some bullshit, crazy, far out theories that you guys have about movie
Unless they're
universes.
stupid.
No, I want to hear the
Put
stupid
some
ones.
thought into it.
No, like I don't mind crazy ones. Not like I mean when I say stupid, I mean if there's no logic to it or if common sense defeats it, then no. But if you have like a legitimate like
thought
yeah
into it.
maybe the Soul Stone is in Tony Stark because the universe didn't actually start until Tony Stark came into existence. Like you can do that. You can give me that argument if you have a sound argument.
Or like, you know, Martian Manhunter exists and he's actually the general from Man of Steel, kind of behind the scenes, you know, trying to blend in as best he can. Make it believable, son.
Something. Thanks for listening this week, guys. Bye.